Welcome back to my channel. So I will jump right in to talk about my eczema. Probably today I'll just share up till when I had TSW, or when I went through topical steroid withdrawal, which is called TSW. And so I had it from around 3 years old, and they were on my crease of my elbows and under my armpits, my neck, and my face, sometimes around my mouth and my eyes, and also behind my knees. Those are my spots mainly, and I contain them using weak strength of steroids. But as I grew older, even though I was told by the dermatologist that I was gonna grow out of it eventually, that wasn't the case for me, and things were getting worse as I grew older. And I think by 4th, 5th, 6th grade, people knew I had eczema because it was obvious. You could see on my face and my arms during the summer behind my knees. It was all visible. So, but I was okay. I wasn't really self-conscious about them. They weren't comfortable, but it didn't really bother me. But as I went on to 7th grade, that's when I started having side effects from years of use. And I was getting steroid shots from 4th grade on. So everything was getting stronger. The steroids that were prescribed to me were getting stronger. And I had side effects of my face turning red, my neck turning red, and the steroids weren't working. And I had some other symptoms that, looking back, I know that there are side effects from the steroids because they suppress your immune system. So I had cramps that I never experienced, and that was the only time I experienced in my life, the horrible cramps that I could not move. And I went to the gynecologist. They couldn't find anything wrong with my body. I just had to let the pain go through or pass. And also one morning I woke up with a moon face. My face it literally looked like a moon, and I could not open my eyes because it was so swollen. My whole face was swollen. So that's when I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know what that was. And one day I stumbled across this holistic book of curing many diseases that were more serious than eczema, like cancer and diabetes. And I read that book and I said, this is what I want to do. I want to get better. I want to get healthier. Something I didn't know it was eczema. Now I know eczema is an autoimmune disease, but back then I was 14. I didn't know anything about health, but that book resonated with me, and I knew in my gut that that was what I had to do to get healthy and to cut ties with steroids. That was what I believed that was the solution for myself, that I didn't want to live with putting steroids on my skin or taking antihistamines and waking up not knowing how I'm gonna look like the next morning, and the itch. I just wanted to be free from all of it, and that book I thought was the answer. So the book was talking about eating a Japanese vegan diet, which consisted of brown rice with azuki beans. Azuki beans is known to be very detoxifying, and also a lot of root vegetables and good quality miso, and some things to help your liver detox, like we use konnyaku to heat the kidneys and to help the kidneys filter through all the toxins. But so they're all holistic remedies and very in tune with nature, and the book resonated with me, and I asked my mom if I could do it, and of course she didn't think that was sustainable or healthy for myself, not eating meat, not eating dairy. So initially she said, no, we're not going to do that. But I begged her, and she read the book and she said, okay, we can try it. And so she ate the same food as me. She cooked other things like regular food for my brother and my father, but she ate the same diet with me, and we jumped right in. But so another thing I wanted to add is I attempted topical steroid withdrawal without really knowing that was what I was doing a year prior, using traditional Chinese medicine. But since I didn't know what it was that was going to happen to me once I stopped using steroids and taking the ARBs that the doctor prescribed me, I couldn't. 2 months was enough for me to endure the pain and the oozing and the itch and just sleepless nights and not having appetite and losing weight. And so I wasn't successful the first time around, and my parents were concerned. So I went back to the dermatologist, and of course they gave me steroids, and in a couple of days my skin was back to normal, almost kind of palish, like I looked like I had some white paste on my face because it kind of bleached my skin at the same time as it closed out all the wounds. That was scary, but I was more relieved to be done with the suffering phase and to be able to go back to school. I did it during the summer for 2 months, so I was happy to go back to school after the horrible summer, and I didn't think much of it again until that stomach pain that I mentioned and the moon phase, and that's when it really hit me that I had to do something. So it took me a year after the Chinese medicine to start again with this vegan lifestyle to attempt a topical steroid withdrawal. So there was a year in between, and I started this time around knowing how my skin was going to get worse, but I didn't know I didn't know how long it was going to last, so that was a little bit scary. And I was 15, so yeah, so many dark days, very low, and like low point in my life is when I went through TSW. There were no information back then because this was 1993, and yeah, we were just really hoping that this was going to help me cut ties with steroids, but we weren't really thinking about, okay, is this going to really cure the eczema? We're just focused on getting myself healthy, cutting ties with the steroids. So that was our goal. But yeah, there are no examples or like people that went through it. So really, it was a dark time, but we just held on to the hope that it was going to help me as it helped other people with more serious diseases. So it was about 5 months I started in the summer again in July of '93, and by January I was well enough to go back to school. So I missed full semester. My school was understanding, so they let me stay at home. I was just not in a condition to be going to school because at night I'm not sleeping. I'm itching all night, and in the morning I sort of went to sleep because I was so exhausted from staying up all night itching and then just crying, and the sun came up and I felt relieved. I was like, okay, another day, another night has passed, and I could sleep a couple hours because I was exhausted and I was so relieved. And but yeah, I would say it's still the most toughest thing I've done in my life. And if you're going through TSW right now, I can promise you that you'll come out on the other side, but I know how hard it is, and my heart goes out to you. But please stay strong, because there's really hope at the end of the tunnel. And I can show you my skin. It's very normal. I'll talk about the issues with my hands in the next video, but that came after in college. So yeah, 5 months I stayed home. My skin was well enough. It was just dry, and I had just a couple of patches that needed to heal, but nothing was oozing. My skin wasn't raw. So I was definitely optimistic, which really helped me to, I think, speed up the rest of the recovery. And I was so happy to be going back to school, being with my classmates, being normal. But I still stuck with the vegan diet for a couple more years. So I hope I covered everything. I didn't see any doctor during my TSW, because we kind of knew that the dermatologist would just tell me that I'm crazy and I should put steroids on my skin. So I didn't see anybody. We really just followed this holistic book and try to keep myself alkaline and eat as healthy as possible. There was no crazy cleanse or anything like that, or there was no juicing. It was more focused on eating cooked warm food. So yes, that's my story up to TSW. I hope that is clear. I'm sorry, I'm still new to this YouTube video making, so I might not be sharing enough, or it might not be organized, but I just wanted to share today about my experience up to TSW. Last thing I wanted to add was that TSW is still the best decision I've made with my life, because it gave me freedom to experience life in a normal way without worrying about my skin. I did get hand eczema a little later, but overall I've been able to do everything that I wanted to do. One was to become an exchange student my junior year in high school. So I grew up in Japan most of my life. I was in the US when I was little, because my father worked in New York City as an expat, but after 5.5 up till my junior year in high school, I was in Japan, and I wanted to come to the US as an exchange student, and I couldn't have done that if I hadn't done the TSW. And I was able to lead a very normal lifestyle because of TSW. So I just wanted to add that, even though it was the hardest thing I've done, it was the best decision that I made with my life, because of the freedom I got in return. And it kind of built me it helped me build myself as well. It made me become stronger. And yeah, I had this mental kind of like a mindset that I could handle anything that came upon me after TSW, because of how tough it was. So I just wanted to add that. I know it's hard to hear something like this if you're going through TSW, or if you are maybe just coming to learn about it and are feeling afraid, but I just wanted to let you know that's still true for me, me being 40 right now. So it's been a long time, and I still am so thankful that I went through TSW when I did. And yeah, I definitely, I wouldn't say recommend, but if you're considering it and if you think that's the only way, it probably is the only way to cut ties with steroids. So I would highly recommend, but I would educate yourself first because there's so much more information out there. Anyway, I'm rambling, so I just wanted to add that. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.